Hey guys, and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at scams against drivers.
Tonight, scammers targeting delivery drivers. Later, is your cat smarter than you? We ask the questions to find out by how much.
We're not going to be looking at the scams that customers do where they say,
"He didn't deliver my food, I want a refund."
We're going to look at some more nefarious scams, some more sophisticated scams, some scams you can find out on the dark web. I'm going to run through two of these scams for you guys. I want you to pay attention so you don't get sucked in, because these scammers are out there now targeting drivers.
Me scammed? That's impossible.
The first of the two scams we're going to have a look at today is called an account takeover scam. An account takeover scam, in essence, is where a scammer compromises a driver's account and takes over it in totality. Now, while a less sophisticated scammer may gain access to an account and may log in, maybe do some deliveries and keep the food themselves, seems like a lot of effort to do. The more sophisticated scammer is looking to make serious money out of it. To compromise an account, once a sophisticated scammer is in there, they're going to be changing the emails, the phone numbers, the passwords, the bank account details. They're going to change everything around to lock the driver out of their own account. In many cases for these account takeover attacks, the driver's no longer active. It may be an old driving account they haven't used for a while. It's at the point where the account is completely compromised that the scammer can begin to take action. Now, for an account takeover scam, there's many ways that a scammer can get access to these details to perform the takeover in the first place. Now, a scammer can get access to one of these old accounts, and the most common way is through the dark web. Listed on the dark web is multiple DoorDash, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, you name it, accounts for sale. If you pay the money, you'll get the user details, the logins for the driver. Now, some of these platforms are fighting back with account security, using 2FAs or otherwise making you take a photo of yourself before you start driving. But the scammers at this point, once they've compromised in, they can generally bypass around, and they don't actually need to take a photo of themselves because they have no intention of driving. Well, how are they going to make money if they've got no intention of driving? Great question. So now that they've got a compromised account, they need to find a victim to start making money off. They're looking for a driver. So what the scammer will do will start to reach out to forums, Facebook groups, Reddit groups, private messaging, any kinds of internet groups where drivers congregate together to discuss, and they'll say there's an account for rent. The crux of the scheme is they want to get a driver onto the account to start driving for them. By saying the account's being rented, it adds validity and social proofing to that account, making it seem like it's valuable. The account's absolute garbage. But what the scammer wants is someone to log into that account and start doing fares. Now, some drivers doing fares on certain platforms have the option to cash out each day. The scammer doesn't want these kind of drivers renting out the account. What they want is a weekly transfer out. Now, they'll either socially engineer this with the driver saying, hey, the money will land across to my account, then give me your bank details and I'll transfer it in. Most drivers will actually roll with this, but the small amount will turn around and say they actually want the payment updated within the app to land across to their bank account. Either way, the scammer's going to say, sure, no worries, and they'll make that happen. Ideally, the scammer's looking for a driver that just wants to be paid out once weekly. And the reason being for that is the scammer at that point will then lock the driver out completely from the accounts, change the passwords, change the emails, change phone numbers, change anything tied into it, and once they're locked out, they'll proceed ahead to make sure that all the money that driver's earned for that week's work will go across into their accounts, and that driver cannot access it. That driver doesn't know it's a compromised account, but if they do try to reach out to the delivery platforms to explain what's going on, the first thing that's going to happen is that driver does not own the account, has no way to access the account, meets no account validations for it. And a lot of these drivers know that, unfortunately. This allows the scammer to run off with the money. So depending how hard that driver worked across the week, the scammer can get away with a couple $100 to sometimes over $1,000 to $2,000. Some may think, oh, a couple $100 or maybe $1,000 on a week, that's not so much money for a scammer to do. When they're running dozens of accounts like this across the world at the same time, it's a more of an organized crime operation occurring. There's a full process being run through, people hacking accounts, people social engineering and compromising accounts. Then they'll make the decision if their syndicate wants to actually run through the scam themselves or just list the details up in a batch on the dark web to sell it off. So driver beware, renting out accounts from a stranger, probably not the best thing to do. The second scam coming through is a social engineering call, which is to get direct access or finesse the details for a driver's account. There was a practice observed in organised crime over in London, where scammers were pretending to be customers and making orders to McDonald's. Now, the orders weren't your standard cheeseburger meals or a Big Mac meal or anything that you wouldn't raise an eyebrow at, but what the scammers were doing were ordering packets of salt, just something absurdly small and generally was free, or maybe 10 cents, so it was a very low cost to them. And these scammers are running these orders just all night, just order after order after order, getting driver after driver after driver assigned. Now, once the scammer's seen the drivers arrive to the restaurant, has collected the order and has hit the road, that's when the scammer takes action. The scammer will call up the driver, pretending to be from the delivery company. They'll say, hey, there's something wrong with this order, as you've probably noticed, it's not quite right, to which the driver will agree. They've literally just picked up a packet of salt from McDonald's. This is when the scammer will start to frame the situation and drive the conversation where they want it to go. They might say that the order needs to be cancelled, and they'll send out a link for the driver to log in and cancel the order so it doesn't affect their cancellation rating and they still get full pay. Or maybe they won't acknowledge the order and say that the driver has not been part of a current bonus running, and they're sending across in the message now the link to click in, log into, to be eligible for a $250 bonus for an extra 5 orders or something like that. So if the driver engages with these links, they'll come to a landing page that's mocked out to the delivery platform. Say it's DoorDash, it'll have the DoorDash logo and have a username, password, login. Once they hit the submit through, what will happen at that point is it's not going to work. It's going to fail to load or something like that. At this point, maybe they're off the phone, or maybe they're having a technical issue, or maybe they'll just say, hey, we'll cancel the order on our end. But as soon as the driver has punched in their username and password there, that's been logged, stored and saved, and the scammer has that. Now, the scammer's not going to act immediately. They're going to bide their time until you forget about this phone call. They'll wait a few days, wait for it to slide out of your mind, and then they'll strike. Right before payday, you'll lose control of your account. Your bank details are changing, your phone number's changing, the email's changed, the password's changed. Then payday comes and you're excited, but you're like,
Where's my money?
you contact support and the money's been sent across to a different bank account. The scammer's done their job, they've logged in, they've taken your full week's paycheck. Or if the scammer doesn't want to go ahead and finish the scam off themselves, they'll jump on the dark web and they're going to list it all up for sale as a batch, and someone else will jump in, finesse the accounts, and then do the dirty work from there. So what can you do to protect yourself? I think the biggest thing is risk mitigation. So don't put yourself in these situations where these things could happen. Don't rent an account. If you see an account for rent, just kind of think to yourself, why do I need to rent an account when I can get an account for free if I sign up myself? Now, if you're in a situation where you can't sign up for yourself, maybe you're failing certain checks, maybe you don't have a driver's license, maybe you don't have the correct car or vehicle. These are things to try work on and rectify to get yourself the gig. Or if you can't, say you have certain background checks as an example, you kind of need to ask yourself, why do I want to work with these companies? Because they don't want me working with them. Look, I'm sorry, but maybe the career is not right for you. But if you do want to proceed using rented accounts, renter beware. Now, I shouldn't really have to say this because it's 2022, but don't click strange links. If you click a strange looking link and it lands you across onto some website to use your logins and passwords, it's probably a phishing attempt. They're just trying to get your details. You don't want to give them your details. Don't do it. This is one of the fastest ways to lose access to your account. Now, understandably, you will get phone calls through occasionally from the delivery platform. If you're unsure if it's actually them, or maybe you got a bad vibe about it, simplest way to deal with that situation is just calmly say to them, hey guys, unfortunately, I'm not sure if you're actually the delivery platform calling me. I'm just going to end this call and give you guys a quick call back. If it is the delivery platform, they're going to be completely fine with it. If it's not the delivery platform and they start to argue or get mean or get nasty, you probably have a scammer on the line and they're trying to manipulate you to stay on the phone. At that point, just hang up the phone. You're done with them. Bye, Felicia. And I guess the third pointer would be only contact the customer via the application. If you need to call the customer, call them via triggering that call from the application or message them from the application. If that customer gives you a different phone number to call, don't do it. Because as soon as you call that different phone number, you're using your actual cellular device to call them, and then they've got a log of your phone number on their phone, which they can use to contact you back with text messages, pretending to be whoever later on. Yeah, you can be like a middle schooler. You can have your phone on private so Tom and Sally doesn't know it's me calling. Come on, man, grow up. So if a customer's sending across a message to you saying, hey, call me on this phone number, don't do it. To be kind of real, like you're talking to the customer there and then in messages on the app. They can pay attention for the next 2 minutes while they get their food. Other than that, guys, that's 2 more complex scams that are targeting drivers right now. Hope you learned something, hope you paid attention, and I hope you don't fall for them. Until next time, guys, peace out.